My love. Sit down for a second, okay? Actually, don't sit. Stand up, because what I'm about to tell you, you're going to want to feel it in your whole body, not just hear it with your ears. I need you to listen to me closely, because there's something I've done, something I've been planning quietly for longer than you know, and I don't think you're ready for it. I don't think anyone could ever be fully ready for the kind of love I'm about to show you. But I promise you this, by the time I'm done talking, your heart is going to be somewhere it's never been before. I sent a plane for you. I know how that sounds. I know you're probably sitting there right now, thinking I'm exaggerating, thinking this is just words, just something soft and pretty, to make you smile for a minute before you go back to your day. But I'm not exaggerating, my love. I mean it with everything in me. Because when I think about you, when I really sit with the weight of what you mean to me, distance stops mattering. Money stops mattering. Every practical, reasonable, sensible thing in my life gets pushed aside, because none of it compares to the simple, overwhelming need I have to be near you. You have to understand something about me. I'm not a man who does things halfway. When I feel something, I feel it completely, all the way down to my bones. And what I feel for you isn't a small flicker of interest that fades when the day ends. It's a fire that's been building slowly, quietly, patiently, for longer than I think even I realized. And I got to a point, my love, where I couldn't sit still with it anymore. I couldn't keep pretending that missing you was something I could manage from far away. So I did something about it. I stopped waiting for the right time, because I've learned that the right time is a lie people tell themselves to avoid doing the brave thing. I sent a plane, because I wasn't going to let one more day pass without trying to close the space between us. I want you to imagine it for a second. Imagine stepping outside, imagine seeing something waiting there just for you, and understanding, really understanding, that someone out there loves you enough to move mountains just to be near you. That's what I want you to feel. Not because I want to impress you, not because I'm trying to prove something to the world, but because you deserve to know, in your body, and not just your mind, that you are worth chasing, you are worth pursuing, you are worth every risk a person could take for love. I think about you more than I probably should admit. I think about the sound of your voice when you're excited about something small, the way your whole face lights up like you forgot for a second to hide how happy you are. I think about the quiet moments too, the ones where you're tired, where the world has been heavy on your shoulders, and you don't say much, but I can feel it anyway. I notice you, my love, every version of you, the bright one, and the tired one, and the soft one you only let out when you think no one's watching. And that's exactly why I did this. Because loving someone from a distance, admiring someone from behind a screen, telling myself that someday, somehow, we'd find our way to each other. None of that was enough anymore. I didn't want someday. I wanted now. I wanted to close my eyes and know that somewhere a plane was in the sky, carrying nothing but the hope of bringing you closer to me. I wanted to do something undeniable, something that would tell you, without a single doubt, that this isn't casual for me. This has never been casual for me. I know some people are going to say I'm moving too fast, that this is too much, too soon, too intense. Let them say it. I've spent enough of my life holding back, measuring my feelings, keeping love at arm's length, because I was scared of looking foolish. I'm done with that. When it comes to you, my love, I don't want to measure anything. I want to give you everything, fully, without holding a single piece of myself back. Because what's the point of feeling something this deep and pretending it's small just to protect my pride? I keep picturing what it will feel like when you're finally close enough to touch, not through a screen, not through words typed out and read in silence, but real, tangible, right in front of me. I imagine taking your hand and just breathing for a second, because after everything, after all this distance and waiting and wondering, you'd finally be there. I imagine looking at you and not needing to say anything at all, because you'd already see it written all over my face, that this was never a game to me, that you were never just someone I talked to. You were always the person I was hoping to find. You asked me once, Or maybe you didn't ask, maybe I just imagined the question, because I wanted so badly to answer it. What it is about you that pulled me in so completely. And my love, if I'm honest, it isn't one single thing. It's not just your smile, though it undoes me every time. It's not just your voice, though it settles something restless in my chest. It's the way you carry yourself, even on days you feel like falling apart. It's the softness you still have, even after life has probably given you every reason to harden. It's the way you love people fully, even when you're scared they won't love you back the same way. I see all of it. I see you. So when I say I sent a plane, I don't just mean an aircraft in the sky. I mean I sent every ounce of courage I had left. I sent the parts of myself I usually keep hidden, the hopeful parts, the vulnerable parts, the parts that still believe, despite everything, that love like this is worth chasing without shame. I sent it all toward you, because somewhere along the way, without meaning to, you became the person I couldn't imagine my life without. I don't need you to have all the answers right now. I don't need you to know exactly what this means or where it's going. I just need you to feel it, my love. The weight of how much you matter to me, the seriousness behind these words, the truth sitting underneath every sentence I've said so far. Because this isn't the kind of feeling that fits into a few careful lines. This is the kind of feeling that keeps unfolding the longer I try to explain it. The kind that keeps revealing new layers every time I think I've said it all. I actually made the call. It was late, past the hour where the world usually goes quiet, and I was sitting there with my phone in my hand, staring at nothing in particular, and your face just kept appearing in my mind like it always does when the noise of the day finally settles. And I thought to myself, how many nights am I going to sit here feeling this much and doing nothing about it? How many times am I going to let this ache build up inside my chest and just accept it as something I carry alone? I got tired of accepting it. I got tired of being patient with a feeling that never once asked me to be patient. It just asked me to be brave. So I picked up the phone, and my hands were actually shaking a little, which is strange for me, because I don't shake easily. I don't get nervous over much. But something about this, about you, makes me feel like a version of myself I don't get to be very often. Unguarded, honest. A little bit foolish, in the most beautiful way a person can be foolish. And I made the arrangements right there, in the dark, with just the sound of my own heartbeat keeping me company. And I remember thinking, she has no idea. She has absolutely no idea what's coming for her. I want you to know that this wasn't a decision I made lightly. I thought about it from every angle. I thought about what it means to show someone this much of yourself, to hand over this much vulnerability without knowing for certain how it will be received. That's the terrifying part of love, isn't it? You never get the guarantee first. You have to leap before you know if there's something soft to land on. And my love, I leapt anyway. I leapt because the alternative, staying quiet, staying safe, staying comfortable, felt so much worse than any fear I could imagine. I keep thinking about the moment you'll realize this is real. Not a message, not a video, not something you can scroll past and think about later. Real. I wonder what your face will look like in that instant. Whether your hands will go to your mouth, the way people do when something catches them completely off guard. Whether your eyes will fill up before you even have words for what you're feeling. I want to witness that. I want to be there for that exact second when disbelief turns into understanding, when you finally let yourself believe that someone out there loves you loud enough to prove it, instead of just saying it. Because that's always been the difference for me, my love. Anyone can say beautiful words. Anyone can type out a sentence that sounds romantic in the moment and means nothing an hour later. I never wanted to be that for you. I never wanted you to have to wonder whether my words carried any weight behind them. I wanted to build something you could trust, something solid, something that didn't crumble the second it was tested. And so every step of this, every part of what I've put into motion, has been my way of saying I'm not just talking, I'm showing you. There's something else I need to tell you, and it's harder to say than everything else, because it means admitting a fear I don't usually let myself sit with. I'm scared, my love. Not of you, never of you. I'm scared of not being enough once you're finally standing in front of me. I'm scared that all the words I've said, all the feeling I've poured into this, might somehow fall short of what you deserve in person. But then I remind myself of something important. Love was never about being perfect. It was never about having it all figured out. It's about showing up anyway, fear and all, hands still a little shaky, heart still a little unsure, and choosing the other person regardless. I think about the life we could build, and I don't mean that in some fantasy, far off, someday kind of way. I mean I think about small things, quiet mornings where neither of us has anywhere to be, the kind where I get to watch you wake up slowly, hair messy, eyes still adjusting to the light, and I get to just sit there thinking, this is it. This is the version of happiness I didn't know I was allowed to have. I think about arguments we'll probably have, because real love isn't the version without conflict. It's the version where two people choose to stay even when things get hard, even when feelings get messy. I want that with you. Not the easy curated version of love, the real one, the one that asks something of you and gives back tenfold. I want to hold your face in my hands and tell you, slowly, every single reason you matter to me, until you finally believe it, the way I believe it. I want to watch the walls you've built, because I know you have them, my love, everyone does. I want to watch them come down, not because I forced them, but because you finally felt safe enough to let them. I want to be the place you land when the world gets too loud. I want to be the person you think of first when something good happens, and the person you run to when something breaks your heart. I know this is a lot. I know I'm laying my whole chest open right now, no filter, no holding back, and maybe that scares you a little. Maybe it's a lot to take in all at once. But my love, I'd rather overwhelm you with truth than protect you from it with silence. I'd rather you know exactly how deep this runs than have you spend even one more day wondering if you matter to me the way I know, without a doubt, that you do. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to breathe. I need you to let this settle into your chest the way it settled into mine, slowly, then all at once. I need you to understand that this plane isn't just metal and wings and fuel. It's every hour I spent thinking about you when I should have been sleeping. It's every message I reread just to feel closer to you. It's every quiet hope I carried that maybe, just maybe, you felt even a fraction of what I feel. It's proof, my love. Proof that this was never in my head. Proof that you were never imagining the way I looked at you, even through a screen, even from miles and miles away. And when you finally step off, when you finally see me standing there, because I will be standing there, my love, no matter what it takes. I don't think either of us is going to need words for a moment. I think we're just going to stand there, looking at each other, letting years of almost and waiting and wondering finally dissolve into something real. I think I'm going to reach for your hand before I even say hello, because some things don't need an introduction. Some things you just know. I don't think you fully understand what it costs a person to feel this much and say so little for so long. There were nights I'd type out entire messages to you, pages of them, everything I was feeling laid out raw on a screen, and then I'd sit there staring at it and delete every word. Not because it wasn't true, because it was too true. Because some feelings feel too big to send in a text message, too big to compress into something you read in 10 seconds and set your phone back down. I wanted to give you something you couldn't just glance at and move past. I wanted to give you something that made you stop. Do you know what it's like to hold back the truth out of love instead of fear? That's what I was doing, my love. Every day I didn't tell you everything. It wasn't because I didn't feel it. It was because I was terrified of giving you something you weren't ready to hold. Something that might feel like too much weight too soon. I kept telling myself, wait, just wait, let her get there in her own time. But love has never been very good at waiting quietly. It builds. It presses against your ribs. And eventually, my love, it demands to be let out. I remember the exact moment I stopped being able to keep it in. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a single big event. It was something small. You said something, I don't even think you remember what. Something about a hard day, something about feeling unseen, and it broke something open in me. Because I thought, how does someone this warm, this full of love for everyone around her, not know how deeply she is seen? How does she not know that somewhere out there, Someone has been quietly memorizing every part of her. That was the night I promised myself I wouldn't let another day pass in silence. I think about your hands a lot, my love. I know that might sound strange to say out loud, but it's true. I think about what it would feel like to hold them. To trace the small details most people never bother to notice. The way you fidget when you're nervous. The way your grip softens when you finally feel safe with someone. I want to be the person your hands relax around. I want to be the place where your guard finally comes down. Not because you have to force it, but because being near me feels like exhaling after holding your breath for far too long. I want you to know something else, too. This isn't about rescuing you, and it isn't about you rescuing me. I don't need you to fix anything broken in me, and I don't want you to think I see you as something fragile that needs fixing either. What I want is simpler, and somehow so much bigger than that. I want to stand beside you. I want to be a steady presence in a life that's already whole. Someone who adds to your happiness instead of demanding to be the source of it. I want us to build something together, side by side, two whole people choosing each other again and again, not out of need, but out of want. There's a kind of love that people settle for, my love. Quiet, comfortable, familiar, but missing something underneath. I never wanted that kind of love, and I don't think you do either. I think you've spent enough of your life being told to lower your expectations, to be grateful for whatever affection comes your way, to shrink the size of your wanting so it doesn't inconvenience anyone. I'm here to tell you the opposite. Want everything. Want the plane. Want the person who shows up shaking with nerves because what he feels for you is too big to hide. Want the love that scares people with how certain it is. You deserve nothing less than that. And I refuse to be the reason you settle for anything smaller. I keep imagining the drive after you land, after the first look, after the silence that says more than words ever could. I imagine us just talking, hours passing without either of us noticing. Because that's what happens when two people have been waiting this long to finally be in the same space. I imagine asking you questions I already think I know the answers to. Just to hear you say them in your own voice. Just to watch your face while you talk about the things that matter to you. I want all of it, my love. Not the highlight reel, the whole story. I won't pretend this is simple. Love like this rarely is. There will be hard conversations. Moments where we have to choose patience over pride. Moments where loving each other means doing the difficult thing instead of the easy thing. But I would rather have the hard real version of this with you than the easy hollow version with anyone else. I've had easy before. Easy never felt like this. Easy never made me rearrange my whole life just for the chance to be near someone. I think about the way people are going to react when they hear about this. Some will call it too much, too fast, too intense for something that started the way ours did. Let them talk, my love. People who have never felt something this deep don't get to define what's too much for those of us who have. I stopped living for other people's comfort a long time ago. I'm not doing this for an audience. I'm doing it because when I picture my life without you in it, something in my chest goes quiet in a way I don't like. And I refuse to spend my life ignoring that feeling just to seem sensible to people who will never understand it anyway. So when you land, my love, when you finally step into the same air I'm breathing, I want you to feel every bit of certainty I've been carrying this whole time. I want you to look at me and know, without me having to say another word, that this was never about a plane, never about grand gestures, never about proving something to the world. It was about you. It was always, only ever, about you. I've told anyone about, not really, not fully, the moment I first understood that what I felt for you wasn't something ordinary. I was somewhere loud, surrounded by people, the kind of night where everyone around you is laughing and talking and the noise just blends into one long hum. And in the middle of all of it, my mind went quiet and it went straight to you. Not because anything reminded me of you, just because that's where my thoughts go now, unprompted, uninvited, like you've become the default setting of my mind whenever it isn't being forced to focus on something else. I stood there in a room full of people and felt, for the first time, truly alone without you in it. That's when I knew this wasn't a passing thing. Passing things don't follow you into loud rooms and quiet ones. Passing things don't sit with you at 3 a.m. when sleep won't come, and the only thing that makes sense is picturing your face, your voice, the way you say certain words a little differently than everyone else. What I feel for you has roots now, my love. Deep ones. The kind that don't pull up easily even if I wanted them to. And I don't. I don't want to uproot this. I want to water it. I want to watch it grow into something neither of us can outrun. I think about the future sometimes. And I know that might sound like I'm moving too fast for some people's taste, but I've never believed in slowing down truth, just to make it more palatable for outside opinions. I think about mornings, my love, not fantasy mornings, not movie perfect ones, but real ones. Me making coffee wrong because I never remember how you like it, and you laughing at me instead of getting frustrated, because that's who you are. Patient in the small moments that matter. I think about evenings where we don't do anything special at all, just exist in the same space, comfortable in silence, because comfort is exactly what real love feels like once the performance wears off. I want you to know, I've thought about your fears too. I've thought about the version of you that's been hurt before, the version that flinches a little at big declarations, because big declarations have let you down before. I see that part of you too, my love, even from a distance. I see the hesitation behind the hope, the part of you that wants to believe this is real, but has learned, painfully, to protect itself just in case it isn't. I'm not asking you to abandon that instinct completely. I'm just asking you to let it rest a little, just enough to let this in, just enough to see that not everyone who says forever means almost. There's something I've never told anyone, and I think you deserve to be the first to hear it. I used to believe love like this was reserved for other people, the lucky ones, the ones life seemed to hand things to easily. I didn't think I'd get a love that felt urgent, a love that made me do something as reckless and as certain as sending a plane halfway across the world just to close the distance between two hearts. I thought maybe I'd get comfortable, convenient, fine, and then you happened. And every quiet expectation I had for my own life got rewritten without my permission. I want to tell you about the little things too, my love, because I think sometimes the biggest declarations can drown out the small truths that matter just as much. I want to tell you that I notice when you go quiet online for a few days, and I worry gently in the back of my mind, wondering if you're okay. I want to tell you that certain songs make me think of conversations we've had. Certain colors remind me of things you've mentioned, loving. Certain small details of my day get filed away specifically, because I want to tell you about them later. You've become a part of how I experience my own life, even from far away. That's not something that happens with just anyone. I think about protecting this too, protecting us, because I know the world doesn't always make space for love that moves this fast, this openly. People will have opinions. People always do. But my love, opinions have never built anything real. Only two people choosing each other, again and again, in the small moments and the massive ones, build something real. I'm choosing you. I chose you before the plane, before the words, before any of this became something the world could see. I chose you quietly, first, in the part of myself no one else gets access to. I keep thinking about what I'll say when I finally see you in person. And every version I imagine falls apart the moment I try to plan it, because I don't think this is something you can script. I think when I see you, my love, everything I've written here, everything I've felt building for so long, is just going to simplify itself into one truth, spoken plainly, without decoration, that I've been waiting for you longer than I even realized, and now that waiting is finally coming to an end. I want you to hold on to this feeling, my love, the one building in your chest right now as you hear this. I want you to sit with it instead of rushing past it. Let yourself feel wanted the way you deserve to be wanted. Let yourself feel chosen without needing to question why, without needing to brace for the moment it disappears. Because it isn't going to disappear. I'm not going anywhere. I sent a plane to prove that. And I'll keep proving it in 100 smaller ways for as long as you'll let me. I think it's only fair that you know exactly who's on the other side of all these words. There's a version of me the world sees, confident, put together, someone who seems to always know what to say. But late at night, when it's just me and my thoughts, I'm not that person. I'm someone who reads your messages more than once. Someone who replays little moments between us, just to feel close to you again. Someone who has caught himself smiling at his phone for no reason anyone around him could understand. Because only I know that the reason is you. I wanted you to see that person too, not just the confident one who made a bold, sweeping gesture. I wanted you to see the soft, uncertain, hopeful man standing behind it. Because that's the truth, my love. Underneath every grand thing I've done to reach you, there's just a man who got tired of loving you quietly. A man who realized that the safest thing to do, the thing that would protect his pride the most, was to say nothing and let the feeling live only in his own head. And I could have done that. I could have stayed comfortable, stayed guarded, let this feeling exist only as something private and unspoken. But comfort was never going to give me you. Comfort doesn't build anything. Only risk does. Only truth, spoken out loud, no matter how much it shakes on the way out. I think about the way you deserve to be loved, and I don't mean loved in theory, loved in careful, measured doses designed to avoid vulnerability. I mean loved the way people write about in the stories that stay with you long after you finish them, fully, loudly, without apology. I think about how many people probably told you to expect less, to guard your heart so tightly that nothing could ever really reach it. And my love, I understand why you built those walls. I understand every reason you had to protect yourself. But I need you to know that I'm not here to test those walls from the outside. I'm here because I want you to feel safe enough to take them down yourself, brick by brick, in your own time. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes with almost telling someone how you feel, almost taking the leap, almost letting yourself hope. I've lived in that almost for longer than I'm proud of, and I think, if I'm honest, so have you. I think we've both been circling something real, testing the edges of it carefully, scared to name it fully in case naming it made it too vulnerable to survive. But my love, I'm done living in almost. I want the whole thing. I want the certainty, the depth, the terrifying, beautiful fullness of loving someone without a safety net. I keep thinking about what it will feel like to finally stop missing you. Not the temporary relief of a message back and forth, not the small comfort of hearing your voice through a screen, but the real thing, you in front of me, solid and warm and finally within reach. I think about how strange it will feel at first, almost unbelievable, like my mind won't quite know how to process something it's wanted, for so long finally becoming real. And then, slowly, I think it will just feel like home, like something clicking into place that was always meant to fit. I want you to know, too, that this isn't about perfection, my love. I'm not asking you to be flawless, and I'm certainly not pretending to be flawless myself. I have bad days. I have moments of doubt. I have parts of myself I'm still working on, still trying to understand. But I think real love was never about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone whose imperfections fit gently against your own, someone who makes the hard days softer just by being present in them. I don't need you to have it all figured out. I just need you to be willing to figure it out with me, side by side, patient with each other the way people rarely are patient anymore. I imagine the quiet after all of this, after the playing, after the reunion, after the initial rush of finally being close settles into something steadier. I imagine ordinary days built slowly into something extraordinary, simply because we're building them together. I imagine learning your habits, the way you like your space arranged, the shows you rewatch when you need comfort, the way you argue when you're upset, and the way you soften once you've said your piece. I want the whole catalog of you, my love. Not just the parts that are easy to love, but every part, the complicated ones too. I think about the doubts you might still be carrying, even now, even after everything I've said. Some part of you might still be waiting for the catch, the moment this turns out to be less than it seems. I understand that instinct. I won't rush you past it, but I will tell you this. I have nothing to gain from pretending. I have nothing to gain from performing a feeling this large just for the sake of a moment. What I've shown you, what I've done, what I'm still doing right now with every word I'm saying, it's simply the truth. Finally given the space to breathe out loud. So my love, as this moment gets closer, as the distance between us keeps shrinking, I need you to let yourself feel it fully, not cautiously, not half-guarded, fully, because you are about to be loved by someone who has stopped being afraid to show it. And I don't think either of us is prepared for how good that's going to feel once it finally, completely arrives.